Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am Mr. Kadim Khan and I am a lecturer in the Institute of Computing, Quart University of Science and Technology. Today we will take lecture number 18 of the subject of Object-Oriented Analysis and Design, in which we are going to discuss the swings and AWT components in Java. In these topics we are explaining the JLabel and JButton controls with the Java examples. Dear students, swings and AWT components are the building blocks of the graphical user interface. So here we are explaining with the controls which are used to develop the GUI. This is the discussion agenda. It contains the topics of graphics user interface, that is the GUI in the Java, landscapes, windows with the GUI components, Java x.swings.stylex, it is a library used to develop the GUI, and JLabel controls. Then we will Java examples of the JLabel controls. Then we will explain the JButton controls, and then we have the topic of the implementing the multiple JButtons controls in Java. Before starting the topics, let us understand the graphical user interface in Java. Basically, the graphical user interface in Java and in another Microsoft languages are the same, but here the terms are different. These terms are used to create the GUI in Java. First of all, we have the container. This is called container. Container is the building block or the basics plot for the GUI, where we can plot the component inside the container. It is also called the frame, and this is the parts of the abstracts windowing toolkit control. Basically, abstracts windowing toolkit is a library which creates this container or frame. Now inside the container we create the panels. Panels can be one or multiple in one window. For example, there are two panels here, and these panels, in fact, they are used to partition the window. They create multiple parts in the window, and in each part we insert different components. These components are also called controls of the GUI. For example, label controls, here you can see text fields control and the button controls. So components are placed inside the panel while the panel is placed inside of the frame. This is the concept of the GUI in the Java. Now, what is a GUI? Basically, GUI represents a graphical user interface or a pictorial interface to a program. You can see we have two types of programming in any languages, like the console application and Windows application. So GUI represents the Windows applications. So there are different types of programs, and it provides the consistent set of intuitive user interface components, provides user with a basic levels of familiarity with each program before they ever use it. So basically, GUI gives us consistent set of the different user interface components. The components may be like labels, buttons, combo box, checkbox, radio button, etc. So this gives us a very basic information about a program. So that means that these GUI components also provides about the information about the purpose of the program. So we can use it very easily. So if the GUI is very much user friendly, then it means that it reduces the time of users to require to learn the program, and also it increases the productivity of the users. Productivity of the user means that in less amount of time he or she can create or perform more transaction by using the GUI. Now again, graphical user interface gives us a distinctive look and feel. Distinctive look and feel means that every GUI should be different than the another GUI by look and feel. Look and feel means that the visual layout of the system. It also provides the basic levels of familiarity. Basic level of familiarity means that we should not read the GUI. We should just logically understand the GUI. Means that GUI should be in a such a way, or it should be designed in a such format that it should be very much self-understandable. So means that if we just see the GUI first times, then it means that we can easily understand the purpose of the GUI. Basically, GUI is developed from the different components such as controls and widgets. Controls are the built-in components in the GUI, for example, button, radio button, checkbox, combo box, drop-down menus, etc. While widgets are certain built-in controls we can buy from the net, or we can free use from the nets. For example, we have different widgets like the menu widgets, the login form widgets, etc. The GUI is basically developed from different components. For example, the mouse and keyboard are the different events associated with these components. So we can interact with the GUI through using the mouse and the keyboards. This is the Netscape's windows with the GUI components. This is the example how we can create the GUI. First of all, you can see that these are called the menus. I will click it, then this will be expandable. For example, it will be drop down and you can select the submenus as well. These are called the buttons. These you can see, these are the picture buttons. This is also a search buttons with the icon and the search text. So these are called different buttons. When I click with the mouse, then these buttons will perform its actions. This is the menu bar. In the menu bar, we can add the menus. So first we should create the menu bar, then we have to create the menus. And this is the combo box. Combo box is the drop down box where we can type and we can also select the item from the combo box. And these are the scroll bars. Scroll bars are used to scroll down or up, or scroll left or scroll right. For example, if the size of the GUI is smaller than the contents, then we have to scroll down or up or scroll left or scroll right to this window. Now, GUI should be interactive. That means that GUI is used for interacting with the program. We also use the console for interacting with the program, but GUI is more interactive than the console. It should be very much user-friendly interface and that interacts with the hardware of the computer. So GUI should also interact with the hardware system of the computer. For example, if we have to increase the sound of the speaker or the volume of the speaker, then means that we have to change the volume through the GUI. Then we will change their volume. And similarly, if I want to increase the brightness of this desktop system, then I will also use the GUI. So I will go to the control panel, then display, and then I will select the display, and from there I will increase the brightness. So that means that I'm using the hardware but through the GUI. It also gives a nice look and feel to the program. So GUI is in fact used to provide a good visual layout to the program, and that should be look very much nice. For example, we can use the different pictures and icons to make it more nice. So similarly, we can use the different widgets and different other built-in controls such as the OCX controls or others controls to create the GUI more sophisticated. Similarly, it improves the adaptability and learnability of the software system. For example, if a user wants to improve the adaptability means that I can easily adopt that particular GUI, because if I have a little experience of the previous GUI, the new GUI can be easily adoptable, and also it can easily be learnable. So learnability is very much important here. Just by perceiving the GUI, I can understand the function of the GUI. So it helps to use the program in the productive manners. So if the user GUI is very much user friendly, then the user productivity on the program should also be very much in the good manner, or the user productivity should be increased. If the GUI is not user friendly, then means that user cannot perform more tasks about the GUI or on the GUI. Now, importantly, javax.swing.styx is a library used to create the GUI. This is the package which has the basic components of the GUI. Now, these components become the standards in Java. Means that they are updating, and these components are in fact released after 6 months, or sometimes after 1 year, and now we have Java 2 platform version 1.2. So if you have a higher JDK, that means that you may be able to use more components of javax.swing. So I will use here 1.8 version of the JDK, which is also Java platform 2. So this will be very much useful for us. These components are the parts of the Java Foundation classes, GFC. So basically GFC is used to create the GUI. There are many classes in the GFC. javax.swing.styx is one of the packages. Similarly, java.awt.styx is also the package in the GFC. Now, these are different swing components. Swings means that these are the components used to create the GUI. Swings is a huge set of components. There are routine packages and 737 classes in the JDK 1.8. That means that we have 737 different controls and built-in classes of the GUI. So we have JDK 1.8, and it will give us more classes. So compared to the AWT, Swings provide huge and comprehensive collection of usable GUI components as shown in this figure. For example, this is the ready button you can see, and this one is the checkbox. If you check, then it will perform certain action, and this is the ready button. This is the just a button. These are different sort of the buttons. These are also buttons. These are icon buttons. This is the combo box. You can select one of the items from the combo box. This is called the list. You can select one of the items, or you can also select more items from the list. This is the text fields. The text field is used for input output. For example, if we provides the input here, it will give us the output as well. So input output purpose, the text field is used. This is the slider. From left to right, we can make slide. So for example, if I want to increase the volume of the speaker, so I can slide here. This is the menu. Menu bar is also exactly like button, but menu bars are usually on the top of our GUI, and these menu bars are in fact more useful than the button because it takes less space on the GUI, because it is expandable, or it usually drop down. So as compared to the buttons, these are more helpful. And these are the labels. Labels may be just a text label, or the icon, or the image label. These are used for creating informations. This is the text area. Text area is in fact the area where we can type, or we can display multi-line input output. This is the tooltip. Tooltip is used for the guidelines or for the hint purpose. For example, if I point out the pointer here and the icon of the mouse here, then the tooltip will be shown. This is the progress bars. For example, for the installation, I can use this progress bar. This is the file chooser. File chooser is a window used to open a file. This is the color chooser where we can use the color. If I select certain colors, then this color will be applied on the particular text. This is the table controls. The table control is used to create the multi-line table, but it has certain rows and columns. This is the tree control. Tree control is also a GUI component in which the child and parent relations are established. For example, this is the parent folder, this is the child folder, and this is another child folder or the file in this drawing folder. This is a split pane. Split pane is used to split the GUI. For example, this is one part of the GUI, this is the second part of the GUI. This is the tab controls. Tab controls are also very much useful. If I click on a further on a tab, then this portion of the GUI will appear. If I click on this tab, another portion of the GUI associated with this tab will be appear. Now we have different components of the GUI. For example, JLabel provides an editable text or icon. JText fields used for input-output purpose through the keyboard. Through keyboard, I can type inside of the JText fields. JButtons control are used for click event or with the mouse. JCheckbox controls provides the checked event. When I click with the mouse, the checked icon will appear inside of the JBox. JCombo box, it is a drop-down list of the JCombo box. And JList provides a multiple selections through the particular selected items through the mouse. And JPanels, it is a container where components can be placed inside of the JPanel, and then JPanel will be placed inside of the JFrame. Okay, dear student, now we are going to start our first components of the GUI, that is the JLabel. So the JLabel controls is used to display important information or instructions on the GUI. For example, this is a window where we can see two different labels here. First label point out or provides information that username should be entered here in this JText field. And this is another label. It shows that it gives us information that the password should be entered into this text fields. So it gives us the guides or the guidelines to the user that what should the user provide to type here. So for example, type your name. If I provides labels here that type your name, and then there are another components, then the label will gives us instruction that here only name should be typed, and after then this button should be clicked. So the labels gives us information about the other controls of the GUI. Dear student, here we have consumed our first 20 minutes. We will continue our lectures in the next 20 minutes lecture. Thank you very much.